divorce, remarriage, and thereafter. So they are no longer two, but one flesh. Therefore, what God has joined together, let no one separate. Matthew 19:6. Even from a third person's point of view, he was a bad husband. He had every single awful habit a man could have. It was surprising how she could stand him for over 20 long years. She said she was sick of men. She guaranteed that she would never get married again if she got divorced. And I believed what she said. She seemed to be managing her marriage quite well until one day she declared her decision to get a divorce. She said that her children were old enough and that they were telling her to do as she wished. At last, she got divorced. After getting a divorce, she said that she felt somewhat uncomfortable being around her family and friends. Her parents considered her a burden. Her children also seemed to feel the same way. Such an unexpected feeling of loneliness distressed her. She didn't want to walk into the dark and empty home. She also didn't enjoy eating alone with no one to converse with. She quietly asked me to find a man for her. I was quite surprised by her request, for I had believed her when she said she would not get married again. After only a few months since being divorced, I got a phone call from her. I have been seeing this man for about a month now, and he's such a good man. She was happy that he was an elder at a church. She had been wishing to meet a Christian because she had experienced great disappointment in her non-Christian ex-husband. She said that this man was of a lovely character, that she would never find a better person for her. However, at the end, she added, "For some reason, I feel like this may be going too fast." In fact, I was feeling the same. I carefully told her, "I think the Lord is talking to you. Why don't you take a breath and ponder on it once more before making a decision?" However, man doesn't listen to another man, for we are all made to live by making a choice between the two voices that speak to our mind. She seemed somewhat displeased with my advice and never brought up this topic again. Soon she remarried. Looking at her with a bright smile on a beautiful wedding dress in the picture, I wished her happiness. A few years after her remarriage, she told me, "I don't know what it is to be truly happy." Whoever she lived with, she always had the feeling of regrets and frustration. The second marriage was no different from the first marriage. They both brought her sufferings and struggles. I told her that the way to find the greatest happiness in life is to win the victory in the battle with self. I reminded her that, as she had said, there is no complete happiness in this world, no matter who she would find to live with again. True love means to be patient with the other person without getting angry under any circumstance. It means to not even think about the other person's weaknesses and mistakes. How can you expect such true love from your spouse? You can find true happiness only when you give true love first. However, you cannot give true love by yourself. It is only possible when you establish a relationship with Jesus and receive the energy of true love from Him into your heart. I told her not to expect anything from her current husband, but to learn to cooperate with God. I also told her to keep Jesus in her mind at all times in order to fix her soul and mind on Him. I suggested to her that she'd do her best to always ask his question first. What would you do, Jesus, if you were me? True happiness can be found only when you continually call upon Jesus after deciding to speak to the other person with words of hope and encouragement. How many times have we ended up regretting after forgetting about Jesus and spitting out words of complaints and criticism? I told her that she would be able to find peace in her heart regardless of who she was with, as long as she doesn't forget Jesus. Only then would she be able to avoid a second divorce. She made a firm decision and said she would try. She couldn't stand it when her husband keenly pointed out her flaws and faults, and she would always fight back the same way he did. She reacted to him more offensively because she didn't want to lose. That day was the same. He pointed out her flaw. As soon as he spoke, she felt a sudden rise of anger in her mind. When she was about to talk back to him with a fierce look, a thought flashed through her mind. I decided not to fight ever again. She hesitated. Another thought came into her mind. He's hurting your pride. How can you let him? You shouldn't let him get away with this. Otherwise, he will consider you as an easy pushover and keep hurting your feelings over and over again. You should burst out right now. She felt two thoughts fighting fiercely in her mind. For all this time, she had struggled with all her might in order to keep her temper, only to find out what she had been doing was to put off the point of explosion. In the end, she always failed and flared up. However, she did not want to repeat the same mistake again. In that short moment, she made up her mind to control her emotions and never explode again. Her decision to suppress her anger was firmer than ever. No miracle can happen without a firm decision. Casting your soul to God begins from making a firm decision. She cried out a silent prayer to Jesus with all her might and soul. Jesus, help me. I never want to fight with my husband again. Please hold me back. Grant me the power to remain calm. Jesus, Jesus. The miracle happened when she was sure that her choice was certain. The feeling of fury, which had been ever so intense, died down at once. This was the first time she had ever experienced this. She finally tasted the goodness of God. It was a miracle she could experience only when she completely laid her soul upon God. Heavenly peace filled her heart. This was an invaluable experience for her. She found the principle of Christianity through that experience. She said that she doesn't fight with her husband anymore. She also said that she was happy because she now knows what true love is. She learned that true love does not come from man. She confessed that there is gentle and tranquil peace in her all the time, which can be felt only when Christ dwells in your heart.